Computer. Hello, everybody. Welcome in today. I am here. We're all here together just to be free and be real and come together and heal together. We're just here to walk each other hand in hand through the rest of this life. We are absolutely thriving with these superfoods and we're thriving with our movement practices. We all have a unique movement practice and we all are really embracing our well-being and our mindset. And we're here to share today about how these foods have helped us do that and how our movement practice helps us do that. And so I'm really going to just jump right in. We're going to go around and have some introductions. We're just going to give our name, what our movement practice is, and how we got started and why. And I'll start. My name is Barbara, and I love all kinds of movement. My parents were musicians, so I just naturally danced from a very young age. And so my parents were like, well, let's put her in some dance classes. I did like the jazz tap ballet thing, but really free form, natural, organic movement, I have to say, where I'm at now. I mean, I appreciate the technical movements too of like yoga and all those things as a practice, but I just love to get wild and free and just move my body. And it's so important. And it's a piece of medicine, right? Equal to any other medicine, a good thing that you can do for yourself. So that's how I got started, and why. And I would like to just kind of pass it around. Mallory, would you like to take it away? This is Mallory Mud Dragon East, y'all.
Yay, I would love to. Barbara, thank you so much for having me on this call. It's really special. And just in the beginning there, when you said how we're all just kind of walking each other through life and like holding hands, I really see this as like you extending your hand to me and like acknowledging that you see me in my practice. And so I just really appreciate that. So my name is Mallory, and I started practicing yoga about when I was 17. And thank goodness I had a really good first experience. It was in this beautiful, like old dance hall with like high ceilings. It was a really old building, and there are mirrors everywhere. They practice ballet there too. And I just had an incredible teacher, and I just started going 5 days a week because I was so into it. And I noticed that it just really stuck with me, and I knew that it was going to be a really good tool for the rest of my life. And I originally started that because I was working at a cafe, and the yoga teacher came in and she kind of was like, hey, you should come check this out. So yeah, it happened super magically. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait until some terrible thing happened to my body, and it just really gracefully came into my life, so I'm really grateful for that.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad. It is interesting to see like how it comes into different people's lives. Brooke, would you like to share?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like Barbara, I'm just movement and dance has been part of my life since I came out the womb, but not really. I was about 4 years old when I started dancing. So I did ballet, jazz, modern, all of that. And then, my parents put me in all the sports and everything. And then I found yoga through dance and did my yoga teacher training in 2018, and then recently have found a movement practice called animal flow, and so I just got certified to teach this practice, which is fairly new and is kind of like a combination of like martial arts meets yoga meets choreography. It's all on your hands and your knees, very primal, connecting to our human animal. And so this feels really fun and playful for me. And yeah, I'm really stoked. I just started teaching this practice, and I'm really excited to get people to learn something new and try something new. And yeah, movement for the
Absolutely.
purpose of play.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so huge. Like when you think about us as children, right? Like we were out on the playground, we were doing that. Like I remember as a kid really like being on my hands a lot. And like when you're wrestling with other kids or you're playing and that just like going upside down and like being on all fours, like you said, that playful like animal movement. I remember when I first started learning capoeira, I was in Nashville and I met this guy and he was like, come play with me. And he took me outside and I had never done it before, but I just like instinctively, it was like my body knew this movement. And I think all human bodies have that it's like the collective conscious. Like we have this collective physical awareness, and people are so removed from that. And that playfulness and the ability to share that with people, definitely, it's such a huge thing. And I'm so glad that you're doing that. I want to take an animal flow class. There's one coming to Denver. I thought about
Yeah,
doing a workshop.
that's where I did my training actually, because it was birthed from Mike Fitch, who's from the area.
Okay, cool. I'm going to look into that for sure.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you want to take it away and share with us?
Absolutely. I love all these shares, and I'm just honored to be here with all you. And yeah, you got to start off with that gratitude. And just this movement of all of us in this movement that we're making right now as well. And just, I'm fairly new to yoga, so I've been practicing it for about 2 years now, and it's progressively been getting more and more part of just my daily meditation and prayer and mantra in life. And I've actually was filling out my YTT. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, my I can't even think. I'm coming to a blank now. My paperwork, I guess I'll just say for doing it, because I've been guided in that from the studio. I just feel at home when I'm at the studio, and even when I'm just in my own practice at home and stuff. And so it's just the progression and just how spirit is leading me to this in my life of just being open, and the more I connect to my breath, to movement, to the movement and flow of life. And like you said too, we're all just walking each other home. Like I love that quote from Ram Dass, and really we're just all walking each other in this dance of life. And the more we can dance and play and find movement and find our flow and what, and that looks different to all of us. And so I love this animal flow too. That's new to me. I haven't even heard of that, but like tapping back more to our primal instincts and into movement and how we are all connected to nature too is just beautiful. So to me, I've always been into like fitness and like weightlifting and stuff like that. And I just wanted something more that was more connected to my spirit, to everything, as far as how we can merge that with the elements around us and be more grounded and present and connected with all the mind, body, and spirit. And so that's kind of what led me to yoga and is leading me more into opportunities of just the more we connect to this and with community. And that's another thing I love about it, is like the community, and everybody is, it's all like you're being led to this for a reason. And it's like the more you can like quiet the mind and find that stillness, then you can have that opportunity to really listen to what's being called, or that calling. And so the more I find myself in this practice, the more I just see opportunities like this open up to where I can be in a space with so many beautiful people that are all following that intuition and instinction of like a greater orchestra harmony. So yeah, I
Totally.
appreciate you.
That's so beautiful. It's so true. And what you said about feeling at home in a studio space, there's something about being together with people in an atmosphere where you're not talking with each other. I remember I was doing a training at Winter Park Resort when I was running the daycare there. And one of the first things that they talked to us about in our customer service training was that when you meet somebody, you learn more about that person from how they're holding their posture and the way that they're holding their body. Like you actually get more information about their being from that than anything else, and how important it is to pay attention to people's physicality. And I think the way that we're able to be with each other and speak to each other physically, when you remove the verbal component, is so huge and so needed. It's just like that relationship with nature, like you were talking about. And the foods that we use tie into that, because the energy in the foods very much has, I feel, enhanced the way that I'm able to viscerally sense my body. I'm feeling parts of my body that I have not felt since before I had kids. I'm able to move my body in ways that I have not moved my body since, like, before lots of life experiences that I've really been holding in my body. We can get into that a little bit more later, but I really want to also introduce Ciara. Are you able to come on and just tell us your name and movement practice and how you got started?
Hi guys, so happy to be here. So happy to have you all. This is my daughter Ocean. She's in the middle of lunch and she's over it, so she's gonna hang out with us. But yeah, so I started with yoga about, oh my gosh, over 10 years ago now. I was working at a restaurant and my manager was like, "Oh, I teach yoga, come try a class." And I had never done yoga. I had never thought about yoga. I didn't know anything about it. And to do on this earth, like this is, I want to do that. I want to teach that. I just felt so empowered. I felt so in my body. I felt so present. I've always struggled a lot with anxiety. And so that just like really helped my mind clear, and my body felt so good. And I just continued to go. I continued to learn. And it was just the best thing ever. And like everybody says, that connection of the mind, body, and spirit is something so valuable to us. And I love the community. I'm not like a at-home practice by myself. I love to have that like room full of people and the energy. And I was just stuck after that, and I've practiced forever since then. And I'm absolutely in love with yoga, and I love the healing. I love what it does for the body and how just like deeply it connects us to our soul. It's not just like a workout, it's so much deeper. After I did my training, I learned how each pose really helps on a deeper level of your chakras, the body, releasing things that are stuck, the traumas. Like, in love with it.
Totally. No, everything you said, like totally just like ties up a lot of what we have been talking about already. And I did want to speak to, like you were saying, how with movement practices like yoga or like animal flow or also like contemporary dance really like reaches into those like somatic body practices where what we experience is that just like the nutrition, the superfood nutrition, we're introduced to the way that it specifically addresses our health, like down to the organ systems. Like different yoga poses can address different systems of the body. Different foods can address different systems of the body. And so when you're giving yourself that support, that preventative support to hold your body up, to hold your mind up too, like you said, to hold your spirit up, it just enhances your life in a way. And when you're using the movement and the foods at the same time, it's like, in India, and they were practicing food as medicine and movement as medicine. And they really informed a lot of Western medicine through what they discovered in India during those times. And I think it just speaks to the awareness that we've always had about our connection to our body, even before we had the medical knowledge that we have now and the ways that they've used that. Okay, so we're going to jump to the next question now, which is, have you had a time in your life where you were not moving as much as you would like? And what effect did that have on your mind, body, and soul? And I definitely have. I think most people probably have. We get busy, we get consumed by life. For me, it really was having kids and going into this full-time working environment. I had been dancing and practicing dance and studying dance and training in dance for so many years. And then I had kids and I got my degree in dance and I started teaching, and I ran a dance program at a fine arts high school for 4 years. And so I was teaching 7 classes a day, and then having rehearsals after school, putting on 3 to 5 performances a year, like full productions. And it was taking up so much of my time that I was not really having time to practice with myself. And that was the first 4 years. And then under, I can't remember, you know, it was like the first kind of like financial depression when Obama was president, but a lot of the art teachers in the public schools lost their jobs. And so I jumped into business with my husband at the time. And I really didn't stop completely dancing, but it really had it took a huge toll on my life. I can definitely see how it led me into a more like cognitive time in my life where I was more in my head and I was more in, I guess, just in my thoughts, you know. And I don't think that that's altogether a bad thing either. There's probably a time for everything, you know. And, but one thing that I do know is all that thinking led me right back to my movement practice because I felt it. I felt that I needed to move and I felt that I needed to flow and get that connection back. And I'm so glad that I did. Definitely, if anybody has moved their body, and I work with people now in my movement as medicine class, I have people that will come in and say, you know, I haven't really done this or that in years, but I just want to start moving again. And it just takes that first step. Just go back to that first class, take that first jog, take that first walk, find a stretch on YouTube, find somebody that you know that can help you find a way to a movement class. It's so worth it. Okay, who was next after me? I think it was Mallory that spoke after me last time. So Mallory, please share with us.
Yeah, so I've definitely gone through periods of time where I wasn't practicing. And I mean, as far as like the physical things I felt, I was definitely stiff. My body would get more sore easily. I also definitely felt less connected to myself emotionally and mentally. Especially in the world that we live in, there are so many things that are stimulating and so many, you know, we're in like a sea of energy that's swirling all around us, and there's constantly outer influence, like known and unknown to us, that's affecting us and our psyche and our health. And when I lose touch with myself, it just feels like I am lost. And it's not a very nice feeling. And I lose that connection. And that's one thing that I love so much about yoga too, is like every day is a different practice and I'm different every day. And sometimes I'll do really fast practices that have a lot of strength, or sometimes I'll just be really still and move really still. And like a lot of times I will get on YouTube because sometimes I just like being told what to do, especially when I'm just trying to show up. It's nice to have someone to kind of guide me. But I also do try to make time to move intuitively as well, because that can be like really the most magical and the most effective. And what else did I want to say about that? Um, yeah, it's just so special to be able to, and if I don't know what movement to make, to just like stand there and or sit there and wait until my body tells me how to move. And that feels really good. That feels really good to me. It makes me feel like I'm taking the time to really care for myself. And then it also helps me, yeah, to be more in tune with my emotions and my mental body, which are two things that have a major influence on our life and how we show up and what things look like and what we are creating. And so
Absolutely. That
yeah.
is such a good point. It's that like moment of dropping in. I remember I had this modern dance teacher who came. She was older. She had like danced with the Graham Company or something. And she came in and we did this like kind of mind body centering practice together. And she just talked about the importance of listening, the listening to your body part, the part where you're really hearing your body. You're not asking or demanding anything of your body, you're just listening. And that is such a huge piece of what can really make the difference in your practice being beneficial to you and your practice ending up injuring you. Like in ballet, I know Brooke did ballet too. Anybody that's played any sports or anything like that too, like This is a very driving, pushing. It's that bigger, better, faster, stronger mentality, that competitive vibe of sports and athletics and things that can be positive or negative, obviously. But in that negative vein, it's like you're trying to look a certain way, you're trying to achieve something that doesn't feel good. And so then you end up hurting yourself. Whereas, like you said, if you really listen and you learn how to drop in and you give yourself what is good for you and what feels good for you, your practice then totally enhances your being. I love that. Such a good point, Mallory. Go ahead, Brooke. Would you like to share with us too?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, I mean, the one time I was truly injured back in middle school when I was playing volleyball. I sprained an ankle and it took me out. And it's just like when you're injured, it's when you want to be moving the most. And it's those moments that you really, truly recognize like how important it is to move. And for me, it's it's really like my antidepressant. Like I know that when I am feeling a certain way, and the other day meditation wasn't doing it for me, and I was trying to get out of the funk zone, I like to call it, and I just had to get up, blast some music, jump around, and just like yell. And it's this full on, like that's the primal, and getting back into our bodies, and it's really is medicine to me. And it's, yeah, our body is our soul. It's what houses our spirit. It's what we experience life through, and it's just mind blowing to me when people just have no regard for moving it and keeping it in this tip top shape to really truly fully embody what it means to be a human being and to experience life at its fullest. Like I know when I can't move, I get really antsy, I just like get really cranky, and I know like that's what I need to do is like let me go to the gym, let me just dance it out. Like I know I haven't been dancing enough lately, and I've recognized like I need to do this because every time I do it I feel so freaking good, and I'm just like, why am I not doing this every single day?
Yes. Oh my God. I fucking love it. It is.
Yeah.
It's like the vitality and the vibrancy that we can have in our bodies. Really, it's like the way that we respect our body, the way that we respect what we put into our body, the way that we respect the way we move our body, the way that we interact with our body language. The more intention and respect that we put into that, the more vitality and vibrancy the world can be with us. You open yourself up to those energetic pathways with the world, like Kelly said, with nature, with listening, it's all of these awarenesses that we're able to have. It's like a different sensory perception that really unlocks and opens up in our body. That's so beautiful, Brooke. Thank you. Kelly, please share.
Yes, it's just a full body yes. Hearing all you guys is in the stimulation and the actual like activation. And there's times I can look back and see the stagnant times of when I'm not moving in certain areas, and then that's when my self-esteem is lower and I'm not really attracting or magnetizing those things in my life that are opening more opportunities and more that vibrancy and the vibes. The vibe attracts your tribe, and when we're kind of not moving and stagnating, that's when we're just like nothing's really happening. I mean, and yes, time to reflect and stuff is good, but if you're stuck and you're not really finding that flow and that movement, that's where the stagnation comes, and that's where mental illness can creep in, and that's when all sorts of different things can, we need to be releasing these with our movement helps us release and balance and find that. And so my recent one is I broke my wrist skateboarding. That's another part of my movement practice is skateboarding, because it helps me just be creative, and it's a different type of outlet for yeah, Dan knows. So but yeah, it's just another type of creativity and flow and movement and that type that helps me get out more aggression in that area, because it's more of a very aggressive style of sport or movement. But anyways, back to my yoga practice, I broke my wrist, and so I was in a cast for a few months, and I wasn't able to really practice as much because, you know, it's a lot of hands-on and things, and that. And so getting back to my practice too has been a new way of just being able to look at myself and my strength and my healing too, because I don't have that motion as much. So I'm learning how to strengthen that motion back and really be patient with myself, breathe into those areas. And that's the thing too, kind of what Mallory was saying, is each practice is different. You know, when we go in, we can be strength and in our flow and that, and sometimes it could be more whatever we're needing to take it slower and breathe into those areas. And it's just you know, the tension we hold from our daily lives and the tension that we absorb and all these things in our nervous systems, it's such a good thing to have a practice, whatever that looks like, to, you know, who's listening, to find a practice and find ways to move, to release, to be able to really find balance in our bodies, because our nervous systems just get wrecked from all this stuff that we absorb daily from just our daily lives and work and all these different things that we do, that we hold tension in our bodies. And people that, you know, might not have these types of practices or introduction to this might not even know that they're carrying so much tension. And once you get introduced to this, then you're like, wow, you start releasing these things and you're like, wow, I didn't even know that this was possible to feel this good. And that's why, like, going to a studio and being around other people in the silence, but you're moving and everybody's all releasing something, or they're absorbing another energy that they're needing, you know, they're sitting there being recharged, and like, and you just leave in a place of like just fulfillment and nourishment. And so that's why it ties in too with our nutrition and certain practices that we've all found, is that you have to really be detoxifying your body, and you have to be recharging it too. And that's on a cellular level, because we're all these cellular beings and atoms that are just splitting and being magnificent creations that we are. So it's just definitely got to keep the body moving and in flow always. And so when you're not, like, that's when you realize.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh. I'm glad that you also spoke to an injury. For me, an area of my body that I've been able to unlock really is my womb space. As you know, a woman that's been through a lot, you know, dealing with just that area of my body, and particularly when we have children and we carry a child in our womb space, I think it's very unrecognized and untalked about, the sort of trauma that your body goes through in delivering a baby. And one of the reasons why I got inspired to go back to school for physical therapy is because I feel like women should have physical therapy after birthing a baby, being able to pull that area of your body, like your perineum and your pelvic floor, back into strength, to feel that strength again through your core. When I started taking the aminos, and I'm going to get into it more later, but it really helped me rebuild the musculature in my pelvis and in my back with some of my spinal malalignments that I was dealing with. But I'm really glad that you spoke to that. And that is like a whole other call that we could do about, I know Dave Sandoval also repaired some pretty major spinal injuries. He's the founder of our company. And yeah, we can do a whole other call about that. And Sierra, I know you can speak a little bit too. You bounced back, like, girl, I watched you have that baby and you were literally like popping, like your abs were like popping within like months. I was like, this girl, like, I wish I would have had the aminos after I had a baby. I was just like, wow, look at that. So yeah, if you want to speak a little bit to your experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, having a baby definitely, I was doing yoga until I was 41 weeks pregnant. I just kept practicing. And then my pregnancy, I started with a water birth, ended in a C-section. So that healing on the body was hard, and the trauma was hard, and not being able to move my body was so hard. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. And you know, luckily I had so many places to teach yoga at. So once like I was cleared from the hospital, I got to teach, and I teach 8 classes a week. And, you know, there's been times where I haven't been able to practice because I've moved around and flowed through life. And some places I've moved to, like it just wasn't available in the community. And I would practice at home here and there, you know, but again, like, you know, just being in that space with people, not being like having to think what to do next, and, you know, just like being told and to flow. And that's something I truly miss a lot. And it really is, like Mallory said, you're stiff, like in your energy just doesn't flow through. And I'm a very like movement kind of person. My body needs to move. I need to be open. And like the anxiety builds up, the mind starts to get heavy, the soul gets heavy, and you just like, you don't realize it. You're like, man, I'm just like, ugh. And then once you start flowing again, you're like, oh, this is what I needed. This is what was missing in my body. This is, you know, like once you start like, and again, you start to remove those traumas and things start to leave the body. We have so much held stuff in different spaces, you know, like our hips hold all of our stuck stored emotions. And after having a baby, you're like, whoa, these hips and this, you know, this place like in your body, it's so heavy. And yeah, it was, I was really thankful that I got to start practicing again, like right away. And that I had the superfoods to bring my body back into homeostasis, bring my muscles back, heal my body, like, and be able to practice so quickly. I mean, I got back into it really quickly after having my baby, like within a few weeks. Like it was incredible. And after having a C-section, like that's not normal.
When I think it really speaks to the foods, and I just want to share, after I had my second child, I was teaching dance classes after 6 weeks, and then pretty quickly jumped back into teaching multiple, like 3 to 5 classes a day at the high school. And I was so depleted. I was working out so much. I was putting, like, aside from all of the energy that you're putting into your baby and you're breastfeeding, you're just pouring out all of this physical nurturing and just literally pouring your food into the child. And then all that dancing. I mean, I don't even know how I did it. And I know that I was not thriving. I was not vibrant feeling. I mean, I don't know how I appeared from the outside. That might have not been the case. But when I just saw you jump back in and like have that energy and feel, it really does speak to the power of what these foods can do for anybody. If you're jumping back into your physical practice, even if you've never had a physical practice, these foods are something that can really help you unlock that. It can help you find your physical and get in touch with your physical in an awesome way. So yeah, the next thing that we were going to speak to was just how consuming the superfoods enhance and inspire our practice, and maybe just do, I think we kind of already spoke to that a little bit, but I think that we can each do like a product review of one thing that we use of this nutrition system that really supports our practice. Like, what is your favorite item? For me, I already talked about the aminos. I mean, there's just no other protein building in the body that feels quite the same. I used to do hard-boiled eggs for a long time as a supplementation because it does have a like good amino complex. But with taking these aminos, it is vegan protein. And it's in the body within 23 minutes. It's pre-digested, so you don't have to digest it first. So when you take it and then you go work out, you feel that energetic pulse that happens, that comes out of you, and it really helps motivate you into your movement practice. And yeah, it's time released. Brooke is saying protein, and yeah, I'm sure all of you guys also love the aminos. So please like speak to that as well if you want to, if you like talk about a different product, but please speak to any of the products. Like, it's just all of it, guys, really the way it all works together. But for me, the aminos, I want to get to the point where I'm taking them twice as much as I already am. And I'm on my way to doing that. So the aminos for me, that's mine. Oh, and one musical artist that you love to move to. That's another thing that I wanted us to share. Um, I love Beautiful Chorus is this group, and they do these like intentional chants. And this is a great way for me to come into my body before I really start to move into my movement. So if you've never heard Beautiful Chorus, check them out. They're pretty amazing. Okay, pass the mic to Mallory.
Yes, I just am gonna second the aminos because they just help so much, and I feel like I'm able to really bring my practice to the next level. I always like notice I can like kind of hold poses a little bit longer, and it just like feels really good to feel that support from the aminos. And it's kind of hard to pick another one. I feel like the joint flex, I want to mention the joint flex because I have had issues with my knees for a long time, or I had issues with my knees for a long time. And sometimes it kept me from wanting to do certain movements and exercises and practices just because I didn't want to. I don't know. I just was worried that I was going to grow up with really weak knees. And my dad has bad knees and he's had to have surgery, but now I feel completely safe and good always, and I'll take some extra joint flex too if I have like a practice that's a little bit harder just in case. And yeah, so that's one of my favorites.
I love that. And that preventative ability, right? To go, like, I sense that I have this genetic predisposition, and that this is an area of my body that I need to prepare myself to not have those injuries in the future. I mean, what a beautiful thing to get to do for yourself, and all the money that you save by preventatively addressing those things versus like surgeries you might have to have. And good. I'm so glad that you are doing that for yourself. Oh, and one musical artist that you love to flow to.
Well, I usually honestly do it in the quiet,
Mhm.
but if I had to pick one, I'll pick Simrit. She is like I don't know if you're familiar, but she's like sings Kundalini yoga mantras, is like really angelic and just like has a really large presence and really angelic. It's like soft and really strong at the same time. It's
Oh,
really nice.
love it. Sounds just like you. Rookie.
All right. Yeah. I mean, the aminos are just number one, like for sure. And then another great one for specifically exercising is the super xanthan. That one's amazing because it's actually repairing your muscles while they are being torn. So those are great to pop right before your workout. Yeah. And I was really sore the other day and remembered that I had them, and I just like popped like 3 of them at once because yeah, it helps with the soreness for sure. And again, I mean, it's not sunny right now, but it's like the perfect farm protocol if you're out working manual labor out on the farm under the sun, because it's an internal sunscreen as well, and then it's helping you while you're moving your body, and also is really good for your eyesight. So it's just like a win-win-win.
And you're a DJ, so I'm really looking forward to hearing your musical selection.
Yeah, I don't even know if I could fit, like, if I could even choose an artist, because it's just like I'm always finding new music all the time too. But for like flowing, if I'm like hula hooping, I really love some like good bass music, kind of. But I also love liquid drum and bass, and I love DJing specifically, like house music, tech house. So yeah, it's always
Oh
shifting.
yeah. Love, love. Yeah, drum and bass. I remember just going and just dancing for hours and hours and hours on end back in the day. And I wasn't taking care of myself as much at the time, but I would just move and dance. It's like I couldn't stop. And my sister is actually about to DJ down in Florida at a yoga studio. And I'm loving how this electronic music and this dance music is like transitioning and evolving to become supportive of these other communities in different new ways. I love it. And I see that in what you're doing. And I love how you're incorporating that. And yeah, anybody who's not following Brooke, like, be sure to go look her up. She's got some cool stuff going on all the time with nutrition, movement, and music. Awesome. Kelly, would love to hear your share.
I love all the choices here. Can't beat the aminos, but also the can't beat this is one of my favorites. But I wanted to talk because I love hot yoga. So the super lights for replenishing those electrolytes after, and then the super xanthan as well. So I want to just like touch on everything that everybody is. I haven't tried the joint flex yet, so that's something that I definitely want to incorporate into my flow as well, just for that preventative. But the can't beat this is great just to get me amped up, and then the super lights for when I'm in that hot yoga flow and need to replenish those electrolytes. And yeah, everything always can't go without my aminos. And the super xanthan for the muscle recovery and all those other good things that we touched on. And one of my favorite ones is MC Yogi. I don't know if you guys are familiar with MC Yogi, but he's one of my favorites just because that's my vibe. And then East Forest, maybe too, for some more of that, just like mellower tones and in that flow state. And so the list goes on. So many great music and musicians to say, but those are some that I just wanted to touch on. So
Yes, thank you. Those were some great product mentions right there. Love all of those. Yeah, and the cocoa hydrate, yeah, like Dan said too. So many ways to support, and people are out here and they're, buying all kinds of Gatorade and like Stinger and like all this stuff. I mean, if they only knew how like pure and earth sourced it could be and how much that enhances. Come try, please. Like you guys are not gonna believe like the way this stuff feels in your body. Ciara, you could have got the tough share, the last share. But please let us know your favorites and your favorite music too.
All right. So my favorite is Revive It All, actually, for the brain health. It has it just gives so much clarity to the mind. Like I realized once I started taking it, how much my flows just could like really flow, and I could do so much like on one side and then remember the other side, and that mental clarity, that clear thought, like Revive It All really is like, that's my number one for yoga, hands down. I love it. And, being a new mom with the mom brain and all those things, it definitely helps for that too. And it's like, I was just like, last night, like really diving deep into that product, and it just has so much like really beautiful things about it that like I really didn't even know. It has like carotene. I wrote some notes, has like carotene, so which is substains made in the muscle and liver tissue, and it's found in other foods like meat, poultry, fish, and stuff like that. But the form that it's made in this product, it's more able to absorb into the body, which is really cool. Crossing the blood-brain barrier, like I mean, like I really dove deep into it, and it made me love it even more. Like it's just such a beautiful product. You really can just think so much clearer. I love the cocoa hydrate, aminos all day. The aminos are great. And for music, honestly, like I've always kind of just been a person who just like listens to music, and I don't know who sings it. I don't know what it's called. I can sing the song, but like, that's just like how I've always been. Same with TV. Like it's just like not for me. But so starting to teach yoga, I really had to like learn music and stuff. So again, like I just kind of like flow with it. Like songs just happen to pop through my life, and I hear them and I'm like, this is a flow. I like to do a lot of like, like DNA repairing and like the really deep stuff for Shavasana and all of that. But again, I just kind of flow with like what's given to me. And another crazy thing is like my mind is kind of all over the place. And so like when I would listen to music, I wouldn't always hear it. Like something would be said and I would just like float off into a thought. And again, since starting Revive It All, I can actually like really focus and listen to the music and like be there for that. It's such a great product. It's definitely one of my favorites for sure. And music, I just flow with anything that's given to me. I love to like really give people like a healing sound, you know, for the end of Shavasana, really give them that deeper healing that they don't know, you know, that we're getting. And I just, yeah, I'm all over the place with music.
It's
I
the
love all the
vibes,
music.
right? It's the vibes. Like what I love that you're speaking to is the vibration factor. Okay, right? So we all know about like sound baths, right? We all know about the hertz frequency music that these vibrations are like moving into our body. One of my mom's friends, actually, when my mom was in hospice and I was taking care of her, she sent me a CD, you know, because she's elder and that was like technology. And she sent me the CD of the Dalai Lama's healing chant. And it's like 40 minutes long. And every day when I woke up, I would put it on. And the vibrational quality of his chants is very similar to the way that a sound bath feels and how you can feel the vibrations resonating in your body. And all music is like that, right? And I think like we hear music and it's just like with movement and food, when we become sensitive to what we are ingesting vibrationally, whether it's our food, whether it's sound, whether it's body language of others, whether it's the actual weather, the sunshine, the rain, whatever, and our foods, guys. Foods have vibration, like the sunlight, okay, photosynthesis, which is what I just read a whole chapter on, the wavelengths of the different colors of light spectrum that are able to come into our atmosphere. Only select amount of that goes into the food, and those vibrations are what create the nutrients that we consume. The vibration creates the nutrients that we consume. So then when we consume the food, we are carrying the vibration of what we've consumed. It's a miracle to realize that when you listen, like Mallory said, when you listen to your body's responsiveness to the foods that you're eating and the ways that you're moving and the music that you're putting in your ears, the sounds of nature, even like in the city, the sounds of the traffic, these wave-like patterns, even with electronic music, the wave-like patterns that are created, you know, it's ours to create with. And it comes back to us holding hands together and walking together through this life. And when we come together, we all bring our energy to the table. We all bring our energy into each other's atmospheres. And when you're living with this kind of intentionality to become your full soul's potential, taking in all the best ingredients of the soundscape, the foodscape, the motionscape, like, and you bring all of that into you, you are then creating in the world that ripple. You're creating that wave out into the world. And when we come together like this to do this, the number of people that can be affected by this wave, the number of people that can feel that vibration is just amplified. And so I'm just really thankful that you guys came together with me today and that we got to share this space. I feel like this conversation is like a beautiful, never ending conversation that we can really have forever. And I definitely want to have another call that speaks to this. And I feel like we could probably all talk about this for like 8 hours together. I know that we're all super inspired. And I'm definitely going to be posting the replay. And when I post the replay, I would love for us each to post a playlist of music on it that we use whenever we're working out. Because I just like don't have time to take notes, but I want to like write down all the things that you guys said and then share even more. So many blessings. I think that we're complete today. I think that we've had the time that we needed. So I'm going to go ahead and end the call and just wish everybody a beautiful rest of your Sunday and a beautiful week. And look forward to coming together with you all again. And if somebody brought you to this call, please reach out to them and learn more about how this nutrition and movement practice can all come together and just enhance your life. So just holding hands with you all as we walk each other home. Thank you. Mwah.